This has been a morning of high-profile speakers from national organisations. Our next guest is not only known across the UK for his broadcasting, campaigning and amazing cooking, but is fast establishing himself on the other side of the globe as a household name as well. I'm sure that many of you have picked up from the local papers and the City Council is about to embark on a major refurbishment of Abbey Mill, just next door in Abbey Gardens. When it is finished, it will become the home for the next River Cottage canteen. The man behind River Cottage is of course Hugh-Fearnley Whittingstall, and I'm delighted to be able to welcome him here today at our conference for his first public appearance in Winchester. And I know that we will be all looking forward working with River Cottage team in the coming years. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for a very warm welcome of Hugh-Fearnley Whittingstall.
So with Winchester, I know not so much the city itself, but the surrounding area from way back when I was a kid. My parents lived in London till I was 7. When they then moved to Gloucestershire. But before that, my great aunt was farming in a village called Dummer, not too far from here. Here. Anyone know Dummer? Yeah. Lovely village between here and Basingstoke. And that's really where I first discovered the countryside. More recently, and specifically here in the city, I've got to know the farmers market and some of the people who are involved.
River Cottage, in your television programmes and at the farm, you encourage people not just to eat, but it's the whole experience about finding, catching and cooking food. How does River Cottage Canteen convey this sense of experience? We believe it's so important in tourism. How do you get that message across through your canteens?
Well, for us, telling the story about where our produce is coming from is right at the top of what we do. And that's easy to do when you come and visit the cookery school, because so much of the produce we're growing it ourselves, and you wouldn't be able to spend a day there without having a tour of the garden and seeing what we're doing and meeting the pigs and the livestock. But we want to carry that feeling right through into our city operation, so right into our canteens. We find as many different ways as we can of telling the story of where our food has come from. So we will talk about provenance on the menu in a fairly shorthand form, but we will put up information about the farms that today's meat is coming from, where the fish has been landed, who we're buying our vegetables from. We'd also like to find ways of connecting with those in whom we have a shared interest in bringing people to the area. So that includes a great many of you. And we do, we particularly have very close relationships with hotels and B&Bs around where we operate our cookery courses, but we like to do that here in Winchester as well and in the surrounding area. So that we would like to be able to tell people about you, and we hope that you will want to tell people about us. So we have a relatively small menu that's very high in locally sourced produce and offers the full spectrum of what we're buying with practically zero waste.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how small they are or how limited their production is, or
I would say pretty much not. No, I mean if they're in the business of producing food to sell, we're very happy to talk to them. Yeah, absolutely.
Winchester's most famous cultural event is the annual Hat Fair, the annual festival of the street arts, which takes place this weekend actually. The Hat Fair delights in turning the place on its head and letting get in touch with people more of the eccentric side. It has been said to me that people say that you maybe have been seen as a little eccentric sometimes. Well, no, honestly, I have more than one person say that. Do you think that the British have a bit of a love affair with people and institutions that throw themselves against convention and the wind, and it's actually an opportunity, it's a business opportunity?
Well, I think I don't know whether it probably is something a little bit British, but I think people get excited by new approaches, by passion, and if that passion spills over into eccentricity from time to time, we certainly don't necessarily have a problem with that. We're ready to embrace that. If there are festivals happening in the city, as we discussed, discussed at Hat Festival, we want to be part of that. If there are events going on, one of the things we have is a growing number of really superb teachers who are running our courses in Dorset, but they love to travel and they love to come and talk to local communities. And that doesn't always mean doing it inside the canteen on our own home patch. There are other venues, other opportunities, other like-minded people who we can create events with and work with. And that's absolutely right at the heart of what we love to do.